you crazy person.
She just wants to be beautiful, she goes.
Hello everybody, my name is Paige and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I hope you're doing very, very well. First things first, I am sorry. I'm in a slightly different position. I couldn't get my lights to work today. It just got to the point where I was just like, I can't do this anymore. It's been a nightmare. So I've come out into the living room. I'm going to use natural light. It may mean you might hear some wind and rain because it's actually a really gross day today. I also live quite near an airport, so you may hear planes flying over. So I'm sorry about that, but the softbox light was just being a pain in the ass, and I got to the point where I was just like, I can't do this. I just can't do this. Also, do you like my t-shirt? Look how cute it is. I love it. It is the cutest t-shirt ever. Anyway, that is not the point. Today, I bring you part 2 of my Tinder social experiment. Now, if you haven't seen the first part of this, then I highly suggest that you go and watch it, because a lot of what I'm going to talk about in this probably won't make a lot of sense, because you won't really have the context of the last video. I have a really itchy nose today. I'm so sorry. And I'm not really going to re-go over things that happened in the last video in much detail, so I will link that video down below. And if you haven't watched it, I do highly recommend that you go and watch it before you watch this video, just so things I'm saying might make a little more sense. Now, if you did watch that video, oh, it was emotional, wasn't it? Like I said in the actual video, I wasn't expecting to get that affected, and one of the reasons why I've gone away and come back was I was super emotional that day anyway. I was overtired and just everything seemed a lot more intense than it probably was, and I just was thinking more with my emotions rather than my logic. At the same time, the message I received really kind of stuck with me, and very rightly so, I hope, has for me highlighted a lot of issues. Now, before I get into this video too much, I just want to make a point, because in my last video I used the word undateable. In hindsight, I kind of regret using that. I used that word for a couple of reasons. One, it just seemed kind of like a really powerful word, so I wanted to have that in my thumbnail, and also because I actually don't like that word, so to feel that way is quite strong for me, and I wanted the way I portrayed that video to reflect how strongly I felt about what happened in it. But I think what's confused some people is that I'm saying disabled people are undateable. I'm not saying that at all, and I for one don't think I am undateable because I'm disabled. I don't think anyone's undateable. I think everyone is dateable for the right person. I'm not saying disabled people are undateable. What I'm saying is that there are issues I have found, and this is purely for me. It could be completely different for you, for the next person, for your cousin Jeffrey down the street, but personally for me, I have found that it's a lot harder to date because I'm in a wheelchair. I'm not going to sit here and say I can't date anyone because I'm in a wheelchair. I'm not that type of person to have those views. I hate it when people, whether it's because they're disabled or whatever, they have some sort of difference in their life and then they use that as a I can't do something because of this. I hate that. Like, I am a strong believer that you take what you got in your life and you make the best of it and you use that to your advantage, and that is always what I've tried to do with my disability, with my weight, with anything else that's not seen as socially conventional. I take it and turn it into positive, and I don't feel like any of that will hold me back from anything, be it dating, be it career, anything I want to achieve. I really don't believe that, and I think the way I portrayed it and being in that over emotional state in the last video came across as if I was saying a little bit that, oh, I'm never going to find anyone because I'm in a wheelchair, oh, disabled people can't date. I'm not saying that. I really am not, and I want to make that super clear before I get into this video a bit more. What I'm going to be talking about is issues I have found around dating and around the perception of disability in dating, but I'm not saying these should hold you back, and I'm not saying by any means whatsoever that you are undateable or that I am undateable if we find ourselves in that situation. Right, so now that I said, let's get into the video. I've had a few days to go away from the last video and think about things, and I'm gonna just put up a screenshot of the message that I received from a guy on Tinder on screen now, just to kind of refresh everyone's memory. As you can see, he said, what is it like to be in a wheelchair? Now, that statement on its own, I don't have a problem with. I very much believe that it is best to be very open when it comes to discussing disability, when it comes to people asking me about my disability. I would prefer someone to come up and be like, dude, what's wrong with you? Than sit there and feel awkward and uncomfortable, because then I feel like in their head they're making up my disability to be something so much scarier than it actually is. Where if they come to me and just be like, what's going on with the legs, I can be like, oh, it's this, this and this, and we can move on from there. So the fact that he asked me what it's like to be in a wheelchair doesn't actually bother me. What bothers me is the fact that it was the first thing he asked me. Now, I've had people ask me this before. They are usually a bit more subtle about it. They usually lead in with, how's your day been? Oh, by the way, how's life in a wheelchair? And for me, that's a huge red flag, because I feel like if that's the only thing you can ask me from everything that you've seen, then what is the point? I am so much more than my wheelchair, and if that's all you're interested in, this ain't working. And then I got thinking about that whole kind of notion of dating when there is a difference, and I think what I realized is it comes down to two things: either pure ignorance or being put out and almost afraid of the unknown and just wanting to get it out of the way and ask it. Now, that's fine, but it's this notion of being afraid or being scared. That's something that's reoccurred throughout my life, and it's something that I really want to talk about, and it's something I find in dating a lot. Again, I really can't stress enough, I am not talking about everyone. I'm not saying this is everyone's views when it comes to disability and dating. This is purely my experiences with the people I've met. And do you know what? I've been on dates with girls and guys that haven't had this and haven't given two flying fucks about my disability, and it's never been an issue. So just please, I do keep on reiterating that. There's a common fact that people are scared of what is unknown. If someone asks you to put your hand in a box and you don't know what's in that box, you're going to be apprehensive, you're going to be nervous. Your immediate response is to fight or flight, because you don't know what that is, and your body either wants to get away from it as quickly as physically possible or challenge it. And I feel like this is what happens with disability and dating a lot of the time, because it is not a thing that's spoken about in mainstream dating. Disabled people dating is still very much a taboo, and I've spoken about this in several videos in smaller parts, both in my sex video and in my dating video. I'll link them down below if you want to see them. Disabled people having a sex drive and wanting that companionship of a relationship is still seen as very taboo, so it's not spoken about. A lot of people, if they haven't grown up around someone who is disabled or know a lot about a disability, find it quite odd and quite scary because they don't know anything about it. It is the unknown. And then the two responses you get is either fight or flight. I don't mention my disability really straight away. I don't hide it like I did in the previous video, because obviously that was for an experiment, but I don't make a point of saying I'm disabled because I don't think it should matter. So then when people do find out, they tend to run away. I remember I had a guy that I was speaking to. He was so cute. A guy that I was speaking to for about 6 months on a dating website. We had so much in common. If I could put my personality into a guy, it would be this guy. Like, it was weird how much we had in common. He was really lovely. He lived fairly close. He was so handsome. I mean, way too good for me. And he was like, I want to meet up for coffee, that'll be great. And I was like, yeah, do you know what, I would like that. You seem lovely. I was really excited about meeting this guy for a coffee. And at this point, we hadn't spoken about the fact I was in a wheelchair. I'd never hid it from him. He'd seen photos of me, all admittedly not full body photos, but if I'm honest, that wasn't because of my disability. That's because I was quite big at the time, a lot bigger than I am now, and I was very self-conscious showing anyone literally from like here down. down. Like, no one saw this part of me. It was only kind of shoulders up because I was happy with my face. So it wasn't like I was trying to conceal my disability, but it never came up. We never had a reason to speak about it. You know, we were speaking about books we liked and films we liked to watch and things we liked to do. Like, we were having genuine chats, but it wasn't too heavy. It was just nice and chill, and I really, really liked this guy. But out of courtesy, and because I didn't want to turn up at the coffee shop just being like, surprise, in this big fuck off wheelchair, I dropped him a message and went, look, just so you know, and I wasn't deceiving you whatsoever, but I feel like you should know that I am in a wheelchair. I explained why I hadn't really brought it up before, just basically saying like I don't think it should matter. It would have felt weird at any other point in our conversations just to be like, oh yeah, the new Marvel film was great. Oh, by the way, I'm disabled. Like, it just wouldn't fit. It was just so odd. But I said, look, you know, I just wanted to let you know, just also so you know who to look out for. I'll be the one in the wheelchair, like making a joke out of it, rah, rah, rah. And kind of, you know, I apologise if he did feel deceived, but that definitely wasn't my intention. Maybe looking back I should have told him before then, but I don't think I need to. It's similar to like how I feel about people coming out. I don't feel like homosexual, bisexual, any other sexual people should come out, because heterosexual people, they don't have to go up to their parents and go, Mum, Dad, I am straight and I just want you to love me for it. Like, they don't need to do that. So the fact that gay people have to really pisses me off. That is another video, but it's kind of the same way I think about disability. I shouldn't have to kind of reveal that I am disabled because it shouldn't be a thing. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So I sent the message and he didn't reply. Which was odd because he was quite like a quick replier. And I have to say, I am terrible at replying to people online. Anyone who knows me knows that I am shit at keeping in contact. I'll text you once and then probably not text you again for 2 weeks. It's not because I don't want to, I just forget, and I will look at it, be like, oh yeah, I need to text that person, and then get distracted by something else, and then like a week later I'm like, oh shit, I probably should have replied. So I thought maybe it's just that, you know, maybe he's obviously busy, like it's fine, he's just, you know, I didn't want to be like, oh my god, he hasn't replied, he doesn't like me. But it was getting closer and closer to the time that we were meant to meet up for coffee, and it got to like 2 days before the day we'd arranged and I still hadn't heard from him. I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna message him again, just be like, all right dude, are you okay? Did you get my last message? Are we still meeting? Like, I didn't want to turn up at a coffee shop and just him not be there. So I just messaged him and he replied going, I don't want to meet you. Why would I want to meet you? And I was just like, pardon? And he was like, you're in a wheelchair. And I would never date anyone in a wheelchair. He was like, I don't want to meet you. Don't contact me. Just completely ran away. Just completely cut all contact and ran. Like, he bolted for the hills. Like, he was gone. And that's not uncommon. Amongst all the positive experiences I've had, a lot of the negative experiences are of people just completely cutting off contact, freaking out, not wanting anything to do with me, despite the fact we'd had so many similar interests and I hadn't changed as a person. My interests in books and films and whatever hadn't changed. I just told him this fact, and people essentially run. And then the flip side of that is fight. Looking back on that conversation and messaging Geordie more, and I'm not going to put the messages up just because when I told him like this is actually for a video, he was upset. Not because it was for a video, but because he was worried I was going to share messages with you guys and that you might judge him and all of that, and I get that. So I actually feel bad enough that his name's out there and that you've seen that message, but I can't change that now. That's out there, and I'm really happy with that video. And I said to him, look, that video is already up, but I promise I won't put any more of your messages out there. So I'm not gonna like put them up on the screen, but I will kind of tell you what he said. You saw that I said to him, you know, it's great being in a wheelchair, I love it, it's given me the best experiences in life, it's no different to how your life is. He was like, oh okay, and he kind of didn't reply for a while, and then he sent me a message going, oh, I didn't want you to be offended by that, I just didn't know how to react to your photos, because he was conflicted. He thought I was really pretty, but the wheelchair scared him, and it's something he wanted to get out of the way and kind of challenge because he couldn't comprehend it. He basically said, he was like, I didn't know a disabled person could be pretty. He was like, I've never seen a disabled person who is pretty. For his words, is normal. And just that alone baffles me. The fact that he doesn't see disabled people as normal baffles me. But I can't blame him, because it's the things that he's been told about disability which has led to his belief of disability now. And that in itself, I think, is what underpins what I'm trying to say in this video. It's the lack of understanding socially, and the way that disability is socially perceived in an unsexualized, asexual way, also very like misunderstood way, that causes these views. So it's not an individual thing. I don't think Geordie was a bad person. I don't think he was trying to be rude. And I don't think the people who have messaged me since saying similar things, or even the boy who messaged me in that story, and that was a good couple of years ago, I don't actually think they're bad people. I don't think their intention was to be mean or to upset me or whatever. I just think they didn't understand, and they hadn't had the chance to meet someone with a disability and really understand what that is. This is a bigger issue than just one person, because someone can't be blamed for not being able to understand something. He had a lack of understanding, and he was basing assumptions upon things he didn't know and or that he was wary of because of that. And really, that's not his fault. If someone comes up and speaks to me in Latin and I don't understand, and I kind of react a bit off guard by that, to some extent I can control how much I show I'm taken back by that. I could just go, oh sorry, I don't understand. I don't have to go, oh my god, what are you doing, you crazy person? But I can't be blamed for being taken off guard. They could have just said, you're the worst person I've ever seen and I hate your lipstick. Or they could have gone, oh my god, you're so lovely, nice to meet you. I might react weirdly to that because I don't understand, and that isn't my fault. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm finding it really hard to make what's going on in my head make any sense to you guys. I don't have a solution for this. I'm just one girl who just chats a lot and has very opinionated views. But I hope that it raises a discussion point, and I would love to see disability and sex and dating, all these taboo issues of disability, I would like to see them more socially known. Like, there's this really positive movement in the LGBTQ community, acceptance and acknowledgement of all different types of sectors within that community, and kind of promoting that to our generations growing up, which I think is amazing. I would love to see a similar sort of thing with disability. I'm not saying you should have special courses on it or stuff like that, because I feel that in itself sections it out. I just think it should be a thing that we speak about, and that is spoken about in loads of different terms. I would encourage you guys, if you're watching this, to talk about your experiences either in the comments down below or with people you know. I wonder if any of you have had similar sort of experiences. I know this video has been quite rambly. I could talk for hours on this matter, and I'm not going to bore you because I would just be reiterating things I've already said. But it is an issue that I've barely touched upon, but I think underpins a lot of things, and I think it's definitely a starting point to have a bigger conversation. Just before I end this video though, I do just want to say that a lot of you have been asking me if I had got any more messages on Tinder. I did, and a lot of them were lovely messages. Thankfully Raoul, who I spoke about in my last video, who's hilarious, he didn't care that I was in a wheelchair. He was like, it's fine, it just means when I'm drunk you can give me lifts home. And I'm just like, yes boy. And a lot of other guys have actually messaged me since I've changed my pictures to the pictures of me in my wheelchair and all my glory, just been like, hey, and having general chats. It hasn't actually been an issue with anyone else really. So thankfully Geordie's message was a one-off, but I'm kind of glad he messaged me that, because I feel like it's opened the doorway for this conversation. So guys, that's is the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that I was able to put my thoughts a bit more concisely in this video. I found this really interesting as an experiment, and I actually want to do a lot more on disability and dating on my channel, because not only is it some of my most watched videos, which thank you so much, my original video has just hit 1.1 thousand views, which is insane, so thank you. But I love talking about stuff like this because it's something I feel extraordinarily passionate about, and the fact that you guys seem to like it too just makes me so happy. Not only then am I making content that you guys like, I'm making content that I love, so like it's a win-win. So I want to do loads more. Do definitely expect them every so often to pop up on this channel, and if you do want to see more content like this, then do give me a thumbs up because it lets me know that I'm doing the good and dandy things. And if you haven't and you would like to, then why not subscribe, because it would make me very, very happy and I would love to see you around here sometime. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember, I have been me, so please always be you, and I will see you very soon for another video.